Plus, you'll benefit. You'll benefit. My goal is to make sure that I make your life better. In fact, when I talked to a brother the other day, I he told me that he actually had over $200,000 in his investing account, and I was super happy about that. I love to hear about Black people making money. And one thing that was crazy was that he actually said, it's because of you, and that really touched me. That made me feel good. And I told him, I said, that's my goal. My goal is not to just get your attention and to be famous. My goal is to do something that's going to make your life better. So the fact that this young Black man, he had this job that, it's a good job, but
Crazy was that
but
he actually said
but he actually said that that he felt that he had options, meaning that there's a difference between going to work because you want to versus going to work because you have to. We've talked about that. Most Black people don't have options. Most Black people are stuck. Most of us hate, don't really love our jobs that much. A lot of us feel like we have no choice but to go to work every day. And the fact that this young Black man, 34 years old, was able to say to me, I could quit my job if I wanted to. And he said it's because you got me started on the $5 a day plan in 2017, and now I have 200 grand in the bank, so I could quit my job anytime I want. I said, man, I said if I could just snap my fingers and make one thing come true, it would be that I could get at least 20% of the Black community to hear this message. At least 20%. I don't even need everybody. If you get 20%, you're talking about a multi-trillion dollar move in Black wealth and closing the racial wealth gap. The $5 a day plan, which you can find at blackwealthmasterplan.com. We need to have plans. We got too many people out here talking and complaining. I want to make a plan. I want to solve a problem. Blackwealthmasterplan.com is totally free. The $5 a day plan, that fixes everything. That fixes the racial wealth gap. The racial wealth gap is not hard. The racial wealth gap is not complex. It only appears to be complex because the politicians tell you that. The politicians are like, oh, we can't solve the racial wealth gap because it's hard for people to build wealth and be stupid at the same time. Yeah, of course it is. That's what it is. Their condition is we want the gap to close, but we want you to keep doing what you're doing. Well, tell me this. Give me a yes or no. Do you agree with me that if you are trying to solve a problem, but you keep the same thinking that you had that created the problem, you will never solve the problem? Do we agree on that? Can we at least agree on that? Would you consider that to be common sense? That literally, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to get what you've been getting. So the racial wealth gap is not complex. It's not difficult to solve the racial wealth gap. I talked to this young Black man. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to be revealing people's business. I told you, when you make money, you keep that to yourself. But I talked to this young Black man, 34 years old, who literally said, I have $200,000 in my bank account now, more money than all my white colleagues. And literally, he said it's because I did the $5 a day investing plan.